I play The Sims 4 in a 160 sim save file with rotational gameplay playing through lots of different households. I'm currently in Generation 7, and today I'm going to show you some of the more dramatic Sims stories from this save file. A commenter kind of requested this video a couple weeks ago, and I've had previous comments saying they really like hearing my Sims stories. So I feel like this is a good time to make a video showing all of my Sims drama. So let's go into the game and I'll show you the chaos that these Sims have gotten up to. So this Sim is Summer, possibly my favorite Sim I've ever played. And she's actually from the second generation. And like I said before, sorry, I'm just like, her makeup seems a little bit messed up, but it's okay. She's from my second generation, but I'm in my seventh generation of play right now. And the reason I still have her alive, basically, is she's in a different save file now because I actually have a Sims Instagram story where I'm going through the whole story of this family. And she is like the main Sim of the first season, and I'm in the second season right now. So I'll share a screenshot of that right now so you can see that profile if you like reading Sims stories on Instagram. Maybe you're interested. She is the daughter of celebrities. Her parents here, there's Violetta and Esther. And Esther is a famous painter. And then Violetta is famous for this like private security business she started, and she works with like presidents and things like that. But they're mostly famous because of Esther and her artwork. Summer grew up kind of all over the Sim world, but in high school she was in Sulani, and that's where she met Dwayne Talla. They had a thing for each other in high school. She was actually hiding the fact that she was a mermaid. She became a mermaid just to kind of give herself something to keep to herself that wasn't in the spotlight with her celebrity family. And so she kept it a secret. But Dwayne is also a merman. And so she told him when they were first starting to flirt and growing closer and things like that. And then her family moved to San Myshuno. And that's where she met this vampire, Domenico Stroud. And she was kind of drawn to him. He was like this older, seductive vampire dude, and she got really into him. But at the same time, she didn't realize she was pregnant with Dwayne's baby. She got pregnant in like the last year of high school. She didn't have the baby until she was in college, but basically around that 18-year-old age. And this is their son, Eric. But now Summer was trying to figure out her pregnancy and finishing high school, and she felt like she disappointed her parents a lot. And then on top of that, she was still connected to the vampire, Domenico. He was like, yeah, it's okay that you have a kid with somebody else. I'll take care of you. He was ready to like be there for her, but he was kind of manipulative the whole time. The story was that he and his vampire friends basically get rich women to fall in love with them, and then they marry them and kill them and like take their money. So that was his plan basically, and he's done it a lot of times. So he was planning to do the same thing with Summer. And she and Dwayne had kind of a falling out around the same time. This is her brother, Dario. He got married to a woman named Harmony. And Harmony was actually the daughter of Arun and Jasminder Bida from City Living. But Harmony never liked Summer. Shortly after Harmony got engaged to Summer's brother, she moved in with the family in San Myshuno. Her parents died, and they brought her little sister, Annabeth. So this is Harmony's little sister, and she was really not coping well with her parents' deaths, but she had also noticed before they died that they were kind of being stalked by someone, or that she specifically was being stalked. And a lot of this sounds like, yes, of course, it's not really something that happens in The Sims. Your Sims don't get stalkers, but I took certain things like maybe seeing one Sim a lot around her house, and that Sim happened to be a vampire, like the vampire that Summer is dealing with. And so just those kinds of things kind of work together to help make a story like that. But after moving in with Summer and her brother, Annabeth's problems really started to get to her, and Harmony was really mean to Summer, her soon-to-be sister-in-law. They were arguing a lot, and really Harmony was jealous of a lot of the freedom that Summer had as a daughter of celebrities, basically, and growing up really rich and having the whole world ahead of her and still having her parents alive when Harmony just lost hers. So Harmony was taking out a lot of her frustration on Summer while Summer was pregnant. Summer is starting to talk to a lot more vampires, and obviously that's dangerous. You know, they're different occults, so I feel like they would probably have some problems with each other. Like maybe some of the vampires wouldn't like that Summer was becoming romantic with another vampire. So I feel like she probably had some difficulties with the vampires she was talking to. Oh, look at Dwayne. He's kissing her. Aw. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll give you some space. But once Summer starts university, she is, you know, this daughter of celebrities, and a lot of the other students there think she probably bought her way into being accepted and things like that. So it's hard for her to make friends there, and she and Dwayne, who is studying at Foxbury, they start growing closer again once they're in university. And at the same time as Summer is dealing with these problems in university and getting close to Dwayne, she still has a lot of connection with Domenico, the vampire, and he's still planning to basically kill her and take her money. And the reason I came up with that in my gameplay, because obviously that's not something that's going to happen in The Sims, is because he basically just wouldn't leave her alone. And him being from a long line of vampires and specifically talking to a rich girl, I felt like there might be some reason for it. You know, like vampires have to get their money from somewhere. So I felt like it just made sense as a story. And so at one point I had her basically figure out the truth about her vampire boyfriend. And things kind of ended between them. Summer had her baby, but there were still a lot of problems with Harmony and her little sister Annabeth. Harmony also had her baby at the same time. Harmony was having a lot of mental health issues, and she was just not okay. She actually has the hates children trait. And that's kind of what inspired me to give her her whole story of feeling kind of jealous of Summer's life and not really being ready for the marriage and kids lifestyle that she was actively entering. I thought, oh, well, she has to take care of her little sister now after their parents died, but she hates children. So that was really hard for her also. It's like she got thrust from being a young college student into being this grown adult with a little sister to take care of, and now she's pregnant also and married. So that really affected her a lot. And she actually died in my gameplay. She just, yeah, she was not okay. I use a lot of mods. I use base mental drugs, which includes like overdoses and things like that. And I use extreme violence. So we're gonna be talking about some of that stuff too as the story goes on. But yeah, she was not okay. But anyway, Harmony died, and there were still a lot of problems with vampires. We found out that the vampires were kind of stalking Annabeth, Harmony's little sister, and making both Annabeth and Harmony be super paranoid. But that's basically it for Summer's story. Once she's an adult, she's still kind of struggling to find love. It's really hard for her to find that kind of connection because she really doesn't have that much confidence, even though she grew up in this like celebrity family. But having the spotlight on her all the time made it really hard for her to like form her own identity and things like that. So it took her a long time to figure out that Dwayne is the one for her. Now I'm gonna jump over to Annabeth's household and go over her drama a little bit also. Now this is Annabeth, the sister of Harmony. She's like a pro musician basically. And she writes a lot about her sadness. She's got a lot of sadness in there. Don't let the smile fool you. And this is her wife, Fetia. Fetia is really pretty. We like Fetia. Here she is. Sadly, she's gonna die. I had a mod, I think it was Sim Torments. It gave my Sims random deadly diseases and stuff, and she had a deadly disease. So that was unfortunate, but Annabeth, who had already lost her parents when she was a young teenager, and then lost her sister. See, the smile is fake. The smile is definitely fake. And then she also lost her sister, Harmony, shortly after Harmony became a mom. Annabeth was not ready to lose somebody else. So losing Fetia really messed her up. So she kind of lost it a little bit, and she saw Dario, so Dario, Summer's brother, who married Annabeth's sister, Harmony. So she knew about the drama between her sister, Harmony, and Summer. And she kind of saw Summer as one of the driving forces behind Harmony's problems. And she thought Dario didn't do enough to protect Harmony. So, she killed Dario. Yeah, it hasn't happened yet in this save file, but in my original playthrough when I was on Generation 2, she killed him. We know that Dario and Harmony had a kid, right? Monica. So they had a kid, Monica, by the time that Dario gets killed by Annabeth. Monica is basically a young adult. She is kind of falling into a bad group of people. That's a whole other story. She's gonna take revenge and she's going to kill Annabeth. It's a lot of Sims who are dying. Many, 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 many Sims. But now I want to show you Annabeth's kid, Lucas. Because when he grows up, he's a menace. So after his mom, Fetia, dies, and then Annabeth kills Dario, Annabeth goes on the run, basically. She abandons her kids. It happens when Lucas is a teenager and Tristan is in elementary school, basically. So she's gonna leave them, basically, and then Monica's gonna kill her. So Lucas, he's going to be bonding a lot with his neighbor at the time. His neighbor, oh, that is a story and a half. Let me go into Cass, and I'm gonna age him up because it's gonna be really weird to talk about this if he looks like a child. But actually, I'm gonna check my gallery. Maybe I have a version of him saved. Here he is. Okay, so this is Lucas. Let me just scroll down to him. So he's a playboy all throughout college. But when he was, dealing with his mom, well, one mom dying and the other mom abandoning them to go off and become a murderer, he kind of bonded a lot with his neighbor. His neighbor was this girl named Georgia. He bonded with her, and this girl was interesting because she had a theory that Dario, so Summer's brother, celebrity family, she had a theory that Dario was her father from like some random one-night stand in college. He wasn't, but she wanted to belong to this celebrity family. So Georgia and Lucas became close when he was in high school after his mom, Annabeth, abandoned them. Wait, here's Georgia. I found her. Here's Georgia. She's an icon. She had a very tragic death in my gameplay. I allowed her to live in a different save file and get remarried and stuff like that. But anyway, this is Georgia, the icon, the legend. I started playing with her when Eco Lifestyle came out, and that was my first time dealing with broken mods from game updates and things like that. So it was driving me nuts, and I decided to take it out on her because I was playing her at university at the time, and I was like, girl, if you stop doing your homework to go play the violin autonomously when I have autonomy off one more time, I'm gonna ruin your life. And she did it so many more times, and so I ruined her life. Yeah, we're gonna get into that in a moment. But Lucas, as I mentioned, he was getting close to Georgia after his mom Annabeth left. So he was kind of starting a relationship with her, but then he was also starting a relationship with May. Now, Dario, he had one kid, Monica, who ends up killing Annabeth, right? Are you following? I know it's really hard to keep track. But then Harmony, his first wife, died. And so later on, he remarried, and this is his second daughter, May. So May and Lucas, they also had a bit of a romance going on, and they were childhood best friends and everything. So at this point, he had a love triangle going on with May, Dario's child, and with Georgia, the girl who has this made-up fantasy in her head that Dario is her real dad. Thus begins Lucas's romantic escapades. He then has 5 kids. One of them is kind of from a one-night stand in college, and then 2 more are with Georgia. So he and Georgia, the lady whose life I ruined after the Eco Lifestyle bugs, yeah, he had 2 kids with her. He didn't have any kids with May. She married someone else, Adrienne, so he didn't have any kids with May. His other 2 kids were with a lovely woman he met a while after all that drama. So yeah, he had 5 kids throughout all that time, and a lot of them got his spellcaster genes. So now we have spellcaster drama coming into the mix. So then Lucas, long story short, all 5 of his kids, there was a lot of fighting over their family money. So Lucas, after his mom abandoned them and he had to basically build up a financial stability for him and his little brother, he ended up having a lot of money. And with his 5 kids, there was a lot of fighting because some of those spellcaster kids considered themselves good spellcasters and some of them considered themselves like more evil spellcasters. And Georgia, the lady whose life I ruined, she really had a strong plan to kind of get the money for her own kids. There was some kidnapping involved and some holding hostage for money, lots of things like that. I'll show a little clip of what that looks like if you don't play with these kinds of mods. The reason that I decided to do all of that with her, apart from her, you know, annoying me enough with all the eco lifestyle problems that I ruined her life, I felt like because of her kind of obsession with Lucas and the little love triangle with her, Lucas, and May, I felt like she would really fight for her kid's future because he left her and things were really messy. And so I felt like she went a little bit off the rails with her revenge, but she didn't, like, you know, kill him or anything. She just kind of kidnapped some people, held some other people hostage for money, lots of things. She did many things. And then she died. Yeah, she died. This is her little happy save file where she's allowed to be happy, but in my main save file, she was not happy. She's no. She is yet another victim of my gameplay. I just scrolled all the way back to the beginning of playing my save file. I don't know why she only has 2 trays, but anyway, these are Summer and Dario's parents, 2019. Aww, that's really cute. So let me go back to Dario's kids. So we went over May and her little love triangle with Lucas and Georgia, but his other kid that he had with Harmony, that's Monica. And like I said, she killed Annabeth out of revenge for killing her dad, Dario. And she kind of got involved with the mafia. She's got 2 kids. Isela, who wanted to move away from mafia life, she kind of left her family behind. And then Amber, who fully embraced the mafia life. And I thought it was really funny that their dog was named Justice when they live as criminals. I thought that was hilarious. We're past the halfway mark now. We're doing pretty well, I think. And there are a lot of little stories that occurred throughout all of this, but I'm trying to just show the main parts, basically. The kind of things that add up to a full story that's spanned 7 generations. Monica was generation 3. So her kids, Isela and Amber, are generation 4. So at the beginning of the video, I showed Summer and her romance with Dwayne and how they had a baby, Eric. She actually had 2 more kids. One of them is Sarah. So there's Sarah and there's one more. Here she is. So this is Rebecca, Summer's 3rd child. And she had a rough time. Summer was like about to become an elder when she had Rebecca. So they didn't live too long after having Rebecca. And there was like a whole mermaid versus mafia versus the Sim president family versus vampires story that I had going on. That's kind of woven into all of this with all the spellcaster families, the vampires and stuff. I have this idea that there's this whole like, we're right, you're wrong kind of idea. We're the good guys, you're evil. And then a lot of fighting over money. She is so pretty, isn't she? So Rebecca here being the daughter of Summer. So let's go back to our little mafia family. Here is the mafia family all grown up. So like I said, one of the daughters, Isela, she went off to live her wonderful suburban veterinarian life and get far away from the mafia life. But Amber, so Monica's kid, so Dario's granddaughter, she decided to kidnap Rebecca, Summer's kid. She like kidnapped her, locked her in a room. And then I had this kind of idea that she sent her away to Sixum to kind of get rid of her basically, but also punish her. Amber also had kind of world domination ideas. Actually, Monica did too. This is Monica's wife. So Monica was having like world domination plans. They were going to use like the weather change machine to basically cause a bunch of storms, and the lightning would kill a bunch of Sims. So that was their plan. And they were also planning to convince Sims kind of on the other side, like the good Sim president side, and the good mermaids and the good spellcasters. They were trying to get people from those sides to join them. So Amber's sister Isela, who left to live her perfect, happy, non-mafia life, Amber kind of got Isela's son, so Amber's nephew. She kind of got him roped into the whole mafia thing. He broke out of it later on. He's fine. Don't worry about him. But they were basically trying to get these people who were on the so-called good side on their side to start this whole world destruction domination plan and take money from basically everybody. So yeah, that's Amber. So like I said, Rebecca was kidnapped and taken to Sixam. She befriended some aliens there, got really close to the aliens, and then they sent her back. They helped her. And then Amber and Monica's whole world domination plan did not work out. Summer's first child, Eric, he worked really hard to stop Amber's plans. And then the Sim president, I'll show you him. Here he is, Beckett. So remember Dario, right? He was married to Harmony, she died, and then he remarried and he had the kid May, who had the whole love triangle with Lucas and Georgia. So the woman he remarried already had a kid from another marriage or other relationship, I don't know. And his name was Beckett, and he grew up to become the Sim president. So he was kind of also against the whole Amber and Monica world domination plan and all of that. And now we're getting into the werewolf drama of the family. So this is his youngest daughter, Sana, and she had kind of the most problems with growing up in a celebrity family, being the daughter of the president. She had a lot of issues with being in the spotlight like that. So she actually ran away to Moonwood Mill as a teenager. She got involved with Rory Oklo, but it was a bit of a, toxic relationship. And they were actually fated mates, but she managed to break out of it, and she ended up marrying Jacob Volkov, one of the townies from the Werewolves pack. I had so much fun when that pack came out because I was playing through her whole storyline of running away to Moonwood Mill and all of that. So now we have werewolves, and they are related to the previous Sim president who was fighting the mafia. Okay, are we all caught up now? And then I will show you the vampires, and then we're going to get into the final couple of generations to see where all of this story has led to, basically. So here's May, Dario's second child. She married Adrienne. They both became vampires at like a party. Adrienne grew up in Forgotten Hollows, so May went over there to visit her one day, and they were like, what if we ask them to turn us into vampires? And then they turn them into vampires. So they have two kids, Ari, creepy, and Rosalia. And Rosalia did not get the vampire genes, only Ari did. So Ari went on to have 4 kids. 2 of them were humans and 2 of them were vampires. And Ari was determined to be a good vampire his whole life. But his 2 kids were like, nah, we're gonna be evil. So yeah, they're the evil vampires now. Now I'm gonna tell you one more smaller story before I get on to the culmination and kind of the finale and current setup in my save file. So this is one of Lucas's 5 kids, and she is his daughter with Rie, who was his final relationship after all of his love triangle drama. So Ava was born from that marriage, and she's a spellcaster. And Ava, she kind of got into some, some dangerous magic, and she ended up summoning the Grim Reaper basically, and she had a baby with him. This was before Life and Death, so it was a lot harder than it is now. That was very difficult. So she had a kid who is the daughter of the Grim Reaper. So this is that daughter, the daughter of the Grim Reaper and the spellcaster mom, Ava. So she is, she's the daughter of the Grim Reaper. She works in the paranormal investigator career, and she's a spellcaster. So she's all into everything occult, basically. And now her son is actually in the Grim Reaper career. So he's following in the footsteps of his grandfather. But anyway, she's really good. She's not like any kind of evil character, no evil personality. She's really nice, really sweet. But because of her being born of the Grim Reaper, some of the other spellcasters kind of reject her and her best friend, who is also related to the family. So anyway, those spellcasters kind of rejected these other spellcasters. So now we are getting into the current drama. So we remember Amber, right? Super mafia fun time, kidnapping Rebecca, sending her to Sixam, trying to take over the world. Yeah, that Amber. Mafia Amber. She eventually had a daughter with Rory, and that's Jade. And Jade is now the mafia leader now that Amber is dead. She has a really cute wife. Cam is just adorable. I love her, but she's like nosy. And so she really likes the whole drama, gossipy side of being in the mafia, while Amber does the more mean, angry side of being in the mafia. So now let's get on to the finale of this story. So Rebecca, the one who got kidnapped by Amber Mafia Lady and taken to Sixam, she had a kid. That kid had a kid, Rebecca's grandchild. So this is, where are they? This is Kaleo. He's dead. Yeah. Kaleo, he was like this whole generous, really nice person his whole life, but he's also a bit self-absorbed because everybody kept telling him, oh, Kaleo, you're so nice, you're so generous, you're so amazing, you're so perfect. And so that kind of got to his head a little bit. So his wife, Chu, her sister was living in San Myshuno, and she saw some stuff that Jade was getting up to, and she wasn't supposed to see it. So Jade like threatened her, but she also knew who that sim was related to. She knew that sim was related to Rebecca's whole family, like Kaleo. And so instead of directly punishing the sim that saw her or punishing Kaleo, she decided to go after Kaleo's wife, Shu. So Shu got abducted by aliens, and that happened in my gameplay, and there was no reason for it. She wasn't in any kind of science career. She didn't have anything to do with aliens, but she got abducted like 2 nights in a row, and it happened really soon after her sister saw the mafia activities in San Myshuno. So I was like, oh, so the family that has a history of kidnapping people and sending them to Sixam just so happened to have a scenario where somebody they don't like got abducted by aliens. So obviously they sent the aliens after them, right? It makes sense. So Shu got abducted by aliens. She was a bit messed up from that. I gave her PTSD from a mod. And then Kaleo here was like, no, not my wife, not my family. So he marched over to San Myshuno to confront Jade. And he was like, we can settle this like adults. Let's have a conversation, blah, blah, blah. And Jade killed him. So he's dead. I'm so sorry, Kaleo. And so the interesting thing about Kaleo is, well, this is not his full family. I just saw, yeah, right here. So this shows kind of all of his kids, kind of. So this is Lila, and she is actually Shu's other little sister. Not the one who saw the mafia activities, but another one. And Lila, she was born when their parents were kind of old already, and so her parents died. She didn't have anywhere to go, and so Shu and Kaleo took her in. And then Kaleo basically officially adopted her, but they took her in from when she was like 9 years old, basically. And she never liked other kids. She bullied the other kids in the house so bad. The other kids are Shu and Kaleo's kids. So she bullied them every time that Shu and Kaleo looked the other way or were busy with work stuff. So she really did not get along with Ophelia or with Florian. And then after Kaleo was killed by Jade Mafia Lady, Ophelia just couldn't handle being in the family anymore. Her dad was dead, and her kind of aunt basically was just bullying her constantly and getting away with it. So she moved out. She's like a famous basketball player now. I have a mod to be like an NBA or WNBA player. So she's super rich and famous now. And then Lila, as much as she was horrible to the other kids in the house, she really loved her sister and Kaleo, and she was really sad when he died. So she wants to, like, you know, take revenge on Jade, which is not a great idea, but she has allies now. Her allies are some of the werewolves. So we're going back to the werewolf family. And we have Lila, and I think Ophelia is going to eventually join her because she's also mad about her dad's murder. So she's also going to join Lila and some of the werewolves to basically fight against Jade, but Jade has different werewolves on her side now, and also some of those evil vampires that I mentioned earlier. So that's basically where we're at now. I hope this was entertaining. I know it's not like a gameplay video, it's just kind of like telling you a story, but I hope it was fun to listen to. And like I said, you can read the Simstagram story that I have. I love doing storytelling and gameplay on my channel. I'm going to have a Let's Play playing a storyline through someone opening a winery. And I really want it to be storytelling. I don't want it to be like a challenge kind of gameplay Let's Play. I want it to feel like a story. So if you're interested in that, I'll probably post it in a few days. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what kind of crazy stories your Sims have gotten up to in the comments. It would be nice if we can just share each other's crazy Sims stories in the comment section here. And that's everything for today. So if you liked the video, please make sure to like and subscribe so you can see when I post more. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!